Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Access 72 video, and in today's video I'm back with another interview. I'm here with Connolly. Beck, how are we doing?
Hi, good, thanks.
Good to hear. Thank you very much for coming on the channel.
No problem.
Lovely stuff. So, am I right in saying you're a featherweight who's 3 and 18?
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest. I go up and down, so I can go bantam, super bantam, feather, super feather, lightweight. Probably looking at lightweight right now.
Fair enough. You can do everything. And so, I suppose we'll just get straight into it. Start with the question which you always like to start off with. Why did you start boxing?
Oh, it was after a real difficult point in my life, and I was asking myself when I'd last been happy, and that must have been about 20, late 20s,
Okay.
and it was when I was fighting when I was younger. So I was like, I'm going to go back fighting. I think that's what I want to do. And Swindon's a boxing town. I walked into Fitzpatrick's and met Paddy, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Yes, of course. And just to kind of go back down memory lane, do you remember what happened in your first amateur fight?
Yeah, I got really, really, really nervous. It was at an army base, I think, somewhere.
Wow.
No, I can't remember how the fight went down at all. That was quite a while. That's 10 years ago now.
Okay.
But I remember it being really fast, and I remember coming back to the corner and like not being like, oh, what just happened, and having to rely on Paddy to tell me what to do at all times. So not a lot's changed.
No, of course. And so I suppose just for yourself, did you have much of an amateur background?
No, not at all. So I had my first fight and won that, and then Paddy was like, come and fight on the Fitzpatrick's amateur team. So did that. I remember on my 30th birthday, actually, I remember thinking I had a fight up north, and I remember sacrificing the birthday and everything, and we drove all the way up, like, must have taken about 4 hours on Friday, and I remember them saying, oh, this fight got cancelled ages ago. No one had told us. Right. So I'd driven all the way there, had to drive all the way back, and I just felt like the amateurs were pretty disorganised. And then I was the era that they took away the head guards for the amateurs, but they only took away the male head guard. So I got a right bee in my bonnet, didn't I? Because I hated wearing a head guard. Okay. And I was like, right, so I wrote to them, I was like, what are the reasons that you've taken them away? Because I agreed with taking them away, and their reasons were the same, that I thought that it causes less damage to the brain and secondary impact from having to, because you could punch the head guard punches the brain, you've got that vibration. So then I was like, right, so what you're telling me is you want to protect male brains, but you don't want to protect female brains if you're only taking away the male ones. But anyway, it was it's all happened now. But yeah, I remember getting a bee on my bonnet and Paddy saying to me, there was a circuit going on in London, and he said, just go on this circuit for a little while, get the fights under your belt, and we'll turn you over, because you've got your amateur background now, you've got this, you've got that, and you'll get some sort of experience. And I have to say, the girls at the time that were coming onto that circuit in London, they were all sort of ex-Haringey winners and stuff. Like, it was a high caliber of girl, and I loved that time. Like, that era was really good. Got a lot of experience, and I have to say, it did put me in good stead for the pros, because it was a lot more like the amateur fights that I had. You're in a in a hall somewhere, or like with that first one at the army base, you're just not in front of a normal crowd like the arenas and that. Whereas it was kind of not on the same scale it is now, but it was a lot more similar. So it did work out well, and I think I was the only era that sort of benefited from that, because it quickly turned into something that wasn't very well run. Quite well, I reckon within 5 years it had gone completely to pot. So I kind of got in, got what I needed, and I was one of the lucky ones, really. Yeah.
Definitely. And so just to kind of touch upon the, I suppose, women's different rulings to men, the kind of big topic around women's boxing a lot of the times is the fact that they have the 2 minute rounds instead of the 3 minutes. And so would you prefer to see women's boxing having that kind of equal level of rounds? Because you can see a lot of things change in that minute.
I think it will happen. It's such a double-edged sword. So women can fight 3 minute rounds up to 6 rounds.
Okay.
The reason you wouldn't at the moment is purely financially. I made my professional debut over 3 minute rounds just to prove a point that we could do it, and I'm built for distance, not for speed, if you haven't noticed. It suits me down to the ground because I can go all day. Give me a 12-round fight, brilliant, but you try and pick up my speed and I'm like, oh jeez. But it also brings something to it. It's like I would like to see 12-round fights for women, definitely. But the 2 minute rounds, they do bring something else because there's no time to sit off. There's no time to there's much less planning within a 2 minute round, your attacks and that. And it means that when I watch women's boxing, I'm always entertained from start to finish because it's manic, isn't it? You've got to get the work done. You've got to score the points and you've got to get it done in those 2 minutes. And I think you'd see that easing back off if you had the 3 minute rounds. And maybe the thing we love about women's boxing is that it's so action packed. Would that stop, or would we all just step up and make sure the 3 minute rounds were packed out? I don't know. There's so many different parts to it, isn't there? But I think science is catching up. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be. I think it's another way to keep the pay gap there a lot of the time as well, because you're doing 50% less, aren't you? So you're not doing the same as the men. So I can see why the argument would be you shouldn't be paid the same. So yeah, I think whilst it's an option and people aren't forced to, I certainly wouldn't now if someone said, oh, you can choose, you're going to be paid the same for both. So I'd be like, I'm not doing 50% more work for the same money. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not. And I think a lot of the girls are in the same boat, but would I prefer it if it was mandatory? Absolutely, 100%.
No, I mean, I suppose it can also link to the point that people always said you don't get paid for overtime in this sport.
You certainly don't. Bell to bell.
Yes, of course. And so now just to kind of move on to your professional career so far, I mean, you've been around and fought some great fighters, and I mean, just to name a few, you've got Harper, Jonas, Scotney, Bridges, Nicholson, Hughes, some great names in there. And so, I mean, if you had to pick one, which one would you say was your toughest?
It's hard to say for different reasons. Jonas was obviously the biggest challenge. I think when you stood in front of your Olympic hero and you're thinking, I've really done it this time. But just different things at different stages in my life, like the Hughes fight with everything that was going on in my home life. That was definitely my most challenging fight because I could not focus. I was finding focusing so hard for seconds at a time. But again, it depends where you're at and what's going on with you as to what the challenge is. Everyone bought something really different. Like Bridges, for example, is extremely powerful. She's probably I'd say Harper's very, very powerful as well. Hard hitting girls. And then Rachel Ball brought all the fancy movement. Ellie Scotney was just fierce, had a little bit of everything, didn't she? Ali had great movement. I don't know, apart from the 3 fights that I've had stuff going on and it's been down to me, why I've underperformed. I wouldn't say I've ever performed badly. I'd say that I haven't performed to the best of my ability and I've let myself down on performances because I'm much better than I've shown. Have been down to me. You've got boxing's all about yourself. It's a selfish sport. It is all on you. You can't think about what the other person's doing or what talent they've got, and you can't think how the fight went because of what they did. You've got to think, what did you do that made it go like that? So I always do that. But early on, really, I got the opportunity. I thought these opportunities don't come around every day. Like, take them. I definitely was able to throw down and was well in the mix. And then I screwed up, like, around the Bridges fight time. Like, I think the Scotty fight was great. I thought that was a great little scrap. I thought that was really fun to do. Same with the Ali fight. Like, I got a 3-day notice. I didn't hold it against myself. I was like, on 3 days, you picked yourself up. I think I was on the scaffolding site on the Friday and got the phone call. I was like, yep, I'm hating every second of this. I'm wet, I'm cold, I'm coming. So 3 days later, weighing 18 pounds lighter, like, I didn't beat myself up. I felt absolutely gassed by round 3. It was like, well, of course you did. Like, no human's not going to be. But I still went in there and won rounds. So I know I can hold my own with these girls. And, it was too late in the day. But you can't dwell on these things. I could sit there and feel sorry for myself and like, oh, you messed up your opportunity. You didn't do what you could do. If only you could fight like you could spar, blah, 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 blah. Like, you could sit there forever, like, beating yourself up, couldn't you? And what's that going to change? It's going to change absolutely nothing. I can't reverse time. I can't go back to those nights. I can't go back to those camps and do X, Y, and Z different. What I can do is do the next camp X, Y, and Z different. And I have to say, like, although obviously I'm absolutely gutted with myself, that was my dream, and I'd worked blimmin' hard for 10 years for my dream, and I really, really wanted it. But it's 2 people. Like, someone has to win. Like, and it happened how it happened. So what was I going to do? Like, throw in the towel, throw my toys out of the pram, and be like, oh, that's it, I'm done. This is like something you absolutely adore doing. You love your life doing it. Like, you haven't got the results you wanted, so therefore, or the money or anything else, you're gonna chuck it. Or I just thought, you know what, find a different path. That's not your path now. Like, you've messed it up. Take responsibility for that, which I did. And then I was like, what is there? And there was definitely an opening and a niche for me. I was like, the routes were go back down, come back home, sell tickets, get as many wins as you got losses against these world-class girls under your belt. All the Eastern Europeans, all the British level girls, all the Commonwealth level girls, like, I know I'm more than able to get wins off. So that could happen. And then I'm thinking, with my age as well, do I want to be running around selling tickets? And do I have the time to do that? And is that really what I want to retire, knowing that I did? Like, went into fights that I'm either well able to win or completely equal with, or do I want to say, no, I am okay with these girls, I can get there, and I'm going to challenge myself, and if that means taking a loss to a world-class girl, that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, there is definitely a niche for this, because the women haven't been around long enough for us to be packed out yet. Even the Eastern European girls, like, there are no journey women. They all come to fight. Like, they absolutely all come to fight. And I was like, there's no gatekeeper. That's me. Like, and you can either fight it and be like, oh, I quit. I don't want to do that. That's not me. Or you can embrace it and say, you know what? I am the gatekeeper. You want to be world class. You've got to get through me first. And I found my little niche, and I hope I've done everyone proud, like, sitting there. And I hope people enjoy the fights, and I hope people still want to see the girls have to go through me to get up to the top. Just kind of see it like like Monopoly. You can't pass go. But so I'm just making the most of the situation as it was. Like, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, don't you? Like, that is it.
Definitely. And I suppose you see a lot of fighters that aren't really always wanting that kind of, I suppose, maybe hassle to an extent of selling tickets and all that kind of thing, but it means that you can go into fights, even though you are in the away corner, you can go in with, I suppose, less pressure, and if you want to try different things that, you're more than welcome to. And is that kind of how you look at fights?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I sold the tickets. I was a massive ticket seller in Swindon. Like that was my bread and butter, and I had a wonderful time. Like growing, like because I was like winning when I first like came up, and I've done those hard fights. I've done the running around trying to sell thousands and thousands of pounds worth of tickets, not to make any money and everything else. And I've exhausted that part of my career. Like I got to 10 fights and I was like, I've paid my dues. Like that's how I feel. Like I've paid my dues. I did it the long, hard, no help way. And I deserve like these fights now. And I truly, truly think like that. And I was thinking the other day, because I was reading some stuff about a fight that got cancelled. And I was like, since I've embraced this, I was gutted, and it did break my heart, like because I take boxing very, very, very seriously. Around the Bridges fight, that broke me. Everything broke me around that time. But there's so much freedom in, like, I was reading this and I'm thinking this person's going to disappear from boxing now. We're never going to see them again. Like, and you're not. Acceptance is so freeing. I am free to be completely and utterly myself. Like, so freeing. Like, I can get out there and give the best account of myself possible, and there is no expectation. There's no pressure. Like, I'm going here, there, and everywhere, learning everything just for the pure joy of learning it. Obviously, it's my job, so I want to do it to the best of my ability, and I absolutely love it. But there's no pressure. I'm not losing a world title. I'm not losing a shot at something. I'm literally making a living doing what I love. And yeah, it does give me the confidence to be able to go out there and showcase everything that I'm working on and not worry so much about that. Like, I can just worry about the fights. That's it.
Yeah, definitely, and I love your mentality. It seems so positive and it seems so good, and it's so nice to hear. And I suppose just to speak about more mentality, what would you say is your main motivation?
I think it's changed. It's changed a lot. Like when 10 years ago, it was definitely the kids, and just wanting something so different for our life. Now I've seen what's like achievable, and I just want to be the best version of me at all times. I know what it's like to not feel like you're the best version of yourself, and that doesn't sit well with me. That's not to say I'm not accepting that we're all different things at different times in our lives, aren't we? Like, and we all have this, like, no one person's this one thing. Like, we have all many, many different aspects of our personality and everything else. But I know with boxing, it makes me a better person. It makes me a better person in every single area. And yeah, if I can encourage any of the girls to just go for it, then I won't have wasted this time.
No, of course, that's great. And I suppose, I mean, you've been on, like I've said, some big nights, and you've worked with some big companies, with Eddie Hearns and Matchrooms and that kind of aspect of fights. And so what is it like to be on a big stage like that?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I think any fighter that says like takes it, A, you don't deserve it, but B, like, you're crazy. Like, it is really, if you don't think it's super cool, then you're in the wrong job. Like, it is super cool. When you see those stadiums packed out, it takes your breath away. But it's like, this is really cool that I get to be here. Like, in the summer, it was, it got cancelled, didn't it, because of the Queen's death. I think we did it in October, the all-women's fight night at the O2. And the O2 that night, like, I haven't got tingles like that for quite some time walking out, but even I was like, oh, this is big. And I remember being at Wembley Stadium for the first time and just like walking up like the stairs, like the little fire stairs to get up there and looking out and being like, whoa. Keep your nerve now back, keep walking one foot in front of the other, don't forget how to walk. But yeah, no, they're wicked nights, and I think last year was really good. We were up in Leeds for some of it. That was an awesome night.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Hearn's back garden was wicked. Like, we've just had I've had some really good times, and I'm really grateful to boxing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, is when you're boxing, like that moment when you walk out, you have to be just like, this is a fight. Forget the cameras, forget everything, forget where you are. But I always make a mental note of it before, and I make sure I revisit it afterwards mentally. Like, this was super cool that you got to do this. Like, be thankful that you got that opportunity, because not a lot of boxers do. They box their whole lives and they never get to walk out of a stadium. So the fact that I've done it multiple times, like, I'm chuffed with that. And I have to say, I can count on like one hand the negative like feedback I've ever got, because I do take things to heart, but people have always been, I think if you're honest as well and you give an upfront honest account of yourself, I've never ever taken away from the other girl. Like, I'd never go, oh well, this was happening, this blah blah blah, because I just think, shut up, they've won, let them enjoy their win, let them enjoy that they were the better person on the night. That's what I always try and do, really. It is wicked, and I am super grateful to have been able to do those things. Hopefully it'll continue.
Yes, I'm sure it will. And I mean, you've got this fight coming up soon. You've got May 20th. I believe that's just the coming days now. Is that right, or has that been cancelled? This is what BoxRec said.
Do you know what? I had a couple of people ask me about something but I think BoxRec has messed up, because I certainly haven't. Okay. I'm always up for any fight, but I certainly haven't got a contract or anything. We've maybe potentially got June the 10th, maybe. So I've been warned about that one, to get ready for June the 10th, and potentially August the 5th.
Okay.
But again, haven't heard anything. And one thing I will say, I don't trust BoxRec, because I've seen some right dodgy things written on there. I'm like, hang on a minute, I've never heard about this. And until you've got a contract in your hands, I just don't count my luck, because it's got to be signed, done, and I say I won't get ready for a fight, but I'm always training anyway, so I'm always ready. But I wouldn't cancel work or get anything sorted for anything until I've got a contract in front of me, because over the years I've made that mistake, especially at Christmas. A couple of Christmases, like, I've got really ready, missed out on all of December, and then they've been like, oh no, that got cancelled a couple of weeks ago. Well, thanks for letting me know. Cheers for that. So yeah, I do always make sure I've got a contract now. So that's good. But hopefully I've messaged my manager, and I've messaged this girl's manager today about the 10th. So I was like, oh, please, I'm ready to fight now.
Yeah, definitely. And so I suppose for the moment, what would you say is your current main goal that you're heading towards?
I've just got my manager's license. Okay. So the aim with that long term, so the next 2 years I'm still fighting. Obviously I always wanted the Commonwealth. That was my absolute goal in boxing to start with, and I still believe that I'm very much able to, whether with the timing that's left, the 2 years that's left, anything will come about, or that would be a possibility without going back and getting the wins at home. Okay. I don't know, but I do know that I want to keep challenging myself. I am happy to take the fights that are coming. Hopefully, as I say, the 10th of June and the 5th of August, hopefully I'll get signed, get as many in as we can. But at the moment, nothing is on the horizon apart from maybes. So yeah, and then I want to start. It's not for boys, I'm afraid. I want to manage just the women coming on up and through. I just think that I'm seeing a real change in the gyms. Like the gyms, last 5 years especially, you're seeing the talent that's coming through now. That the women have been in the gym since they were 10 years old. Yeah. Which obviously with my generation, it didn't happen. Like, women just weren't in the gyms. We didn't box. We weren't allowed to. If you go back to the era before and the great women that were trying to push it through then. But now you're seeing these girls training from 10 years old, like the boys are, coming through the amateurs that way. And you're seeing a totally different level of skill set. And A is great. B is keeping me on my toes because all these 15-year-old girls are fierce as hell and making me keep up with them sparring. But I'm also thinking I've met some beautiful people in boxing, and I've met some wonderful people in boxing. I've also met some really not very nice people in boxing, and that's where I think I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, and I'd like to protect the women that are coming on up from making the same mistakes that can easily be avoided. Yeah. I know the things that would have really helped me and my career. So again, I want to be able to put that in place for them. I know what they're going to have to do and what they're going to have to be willing to do. So again, like, if I can stop them making some of the same mistakes I have or falling into the same traps, and just being open and honest with them, really. And I hope these girls coming on up and through will trust me to manage their careers and hopefully get a few world champions of my own in the next 10 years.
Yes, I'm sure that'll be the case. And I suppose this next question kind of links to this previous one. And so I suppose when you are eventually, I mean, you spoke about wanting to go into what you wanted to go into there, but when you are eventually done completely with boxing, how would you like to be remembered?
As an absolute warrior. It'd break my heart if I wasn't. Yeah. I hope people know that I put my heart and soul into every single fight or whatever I've got at that moment in me. That I didn't back down to anyone, that I didn't swerve anyone, I wasn't scared of anyone. That I was reliable. If I say I'm going to do something, I'd have to be really injured not to. Yeah, and I hope I've brought the entertainment over the years, and I hope by the time I finish and I've had 7 years in with people watching, like, I hope that's what they remember.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure they will. And I suppose now we'll just kind of move on just to one fight which I really want to speak about, and of course that is the big fight coming this weekend, Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron. Could you possibly give a little prediction for that?
Do you know what? I think personally, like, I'd love a Taylor win, and the speed is why she will win if she does. But I just see Cameron being too much. She's too powerful and too, like, she's just so aggressive, and a very clever boxer. Yeah. And I don't know, I just see a Cameron win. If Katie can stay out of trouble, I think her hand speed should win on points. If it goes to points, it will definitely be a Katie win. Yeah. But I can see Cameron being able to stop her with her kind of power. But who knows? It's exciting, and I've got to fleming go to work this weekend, so I'm away with the army this weekend, and I won't get to watch it till Monday, and I'll have it all ruined for me about who's won when I get back, won't I?
Oh, that's a bit of a shame. But okay, thank you very much. I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
Just to the 3 sponsors that have helped me financially this last camp: Happy Motor Finance, Kickstart Signs, and Iron Neck Europe. I had to think then. I was like, and Iron Neck Europe sent me. I need to get them to show me the exercises, really. But they've just got a neck strengthening thing, and they sent me all the kits, so that was really cool. I can't tell you how much I cannot survive without sponsorship. Like, we're training 4 hours a day. That's 4 hours a day that I can't work. Yeah. And the nearest sparring, like, we travel to sparring at least 2 hours there, 2 hours back, 3-4 times a week. Right. And the pet, like, obviously it all adds up. Yeah. And it doesn't cover what you earn in the fight. So without the sponsorship, we can't do this. And like I said, I want to go into management with these girls and get some world champions of my own. And that's going to require, like, I want to be able to put into the girls as well. So I'm going to need help and sponsorship with that as well. So any businesses that can get in and help out. If we get this 10th of June, if not, hopefully the 5th of August. So fingers crossed I get a contract soon, because I'm getting itchy feet, and I'm getting I'm just ready to fight, to be honest. So thank you very much, those that are helping. If anyone else wants to help, it would be super appreciated.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much, Beck. And maybe when you're moving on into management and everything's maybe changed a little bit, we can come and have you back on the channel.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Okay, nice one. And so if you're on your around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and thanks for watching.